Hey everyone, today I'm going to talk to you about what I call the magic light. You know, a lot of the grave markers here at St. John's are eroded and the letters are very hard to read, but if you come here just when the sun is in the right spot, the letters just sort of jump out at you. It's a little bit after 1 o'clock today and I think we're getting the magic light right now. Just check out how these letters are just clear as a bell. You can read them perfectly. So I'm going to walk you around the graveyard today and show you some more examples of the magic light. The light is spectacular right now, and these letters are just jumping out from the tombstone here of Robert Snell. This is a sandstone marker, and his grave marker reads, "In memory of Robert Snell, son of I and M. Snell, O''bit, obit, or died, March 9th, 1820, age 1 year, 7 months and 16 days. I'm sorry to say this obviously is a grave marker for an infant, and it's very common to see when people died their ages spelled out in years, months, and days. The sun is so amazingly perfect right now that you can read all these details, the comma here, this wonderful highly detailed ampersand, the periods here, and look at this ampersand right here. I'm sorry that his name is obscured by this damage, but this is a spectacular example of when you get the light just right, you can read everything. This beautiful sandstone grave marker is in memory of Eliza Steele, who departed this life October 3rd, 1814, aged 13 years, 1 month, 11 days, a native of Philadelphia. That is amazing how, even though it's sandstone and it's very fragile and so, prone to deterioration, we have such sharp lettering here. And because of this light, we can read it so well. This sandstone marker is in just terrific condition. It's in memory of Ira Ball of Newark, New Jersey, who departed this life September 10th, 1818, aged 28 years, 3 months, and 28 days. When you see it in this light right now, it is just popping out. You can see every detail. You can see the beautiful way, the little scrolls on the end, every comma, every hyphen. There's the TH, this little ampersand. It's just survived beautifully over time. And boy, it's really in great condition. I want to know more about this young man and what his life was like. It doesn't get any better than this when it comes to being able to read a tombstone in this wonderful light. This is a marker, it's a slate memorial to Mrs. Sarah White. And as you may know, we have a staff member named Sarah White, so this is particularly interesting to me. But man, it's so clear. Slate is incredibly hard, it lasts well, all the detail is still there, but it reads, "Sacred to the memory of Mrs. Sarah White, wife of Mr. Sam," and you see the little L up there, so Samuel White, and daughter of Mr. William and Mrs. Mary Carey of Boston, Massachusetts, who died January 20th, 1800, age 28. And then you can read this wonderful little inscription here. "This languishing head is at rest, its thinking and aching are o'er. This quiet, immovable breast is heaved by affliction no more." What I think is interesting about this marker is you can see the sort of unfinished section right here that's definitely was meant to be underground. So perhaps this has worked its way up, or maybe it was moved here. You can see how the graves are really packed tightly together here. Mariah's grave is right next to this tabletop grave, and if you look behind me, you can see the concentration of graves right there. There's a grave, looks like, is it Lucy Davis, the daughter of Thomas Ruth, died November 12, 1801, and that marker is stacked right next to, probably, that is Mariah's footstone right there. This little sandstone marker is tucked off to the side of the graveyard, and it reads, "In memory of James Wilkie, died July 5th, 1822, aged 1 year and 25 days. It's a sweet little simple marker. Lots of detail still on it. I love the way they've abbreviated James. It does have a beautiful little simple footstone with it. has his initials on it. And if we didn't know his date or his age because of it being listed here, we would definitely know it's for a child because it's a small little grave. And it's a good reminder that even though this is tucked away in the graveyard, there are people buried everywhere here. The light is just perfect right now, and I'm running all over the graveyard like a madwoman trying to capture all these wonderful tombstones. But this little marker just caught my eye. It reads MHB. You might think it's a footstone, but I have a feeling that this is a marker for an infant. A lot of times, simple little markers were placed like this for infants with just their initials. This marble marker is to Mary Jane, wife of J.O., I'm going to assume that's Joseph M. Ferguson, also her daughter Mary Arabella, OBT, obit, or died, 1846. You may be wondering how I can read Ferguson right there since it's so deteriorated. Next door to this marker is a grave to a George Ferguson, which gives me the clue that that's got to be Ferguson because family members were buried next to each other most of the time. The sad thing about this tombstone is it's Mary Jane and her daughter, and there's one death date. So that gives me the clue that probably Mary Jane died in childbirth, and unfortunately her daughter died as well. Infant mortality was high, and so was women dying in childbirth. It was a very hard time, and this is a sad marker, but I'm so glad we can read it right now because of the light. There's enough information on here that we could find out more about this gentleman, and it's worth pointing out that if you come to the graveyard, you'll see a lot of birth places, Ireland, Spain, Scotland, you name it, which shows Richmond really was a town of immigrants in the beginning. Here's another little sandstone marker. Again, not much left of the original lettering, but we have just enough to read to the of departed the May 10th, 1816. And there's a little more beneath the ground here that we could read. It says, I believe that's 22 days. Again, another infant, which is sad. But there's just enough detail on here that we could probably do some research in the records on a death day of May 10th, 1816. And even though there's not much here with the name, it's important to remember that this was a well-loved child, and we want to do all we can to protect this monument. So we're going to raise money to restore this one as well. This is one of my favorite markers because of the detail. It's a slate marker, and it is beautifully carved. It has this wonderful little urn up here, and these little sun ray details around the side. This one is in memory of Mary Ann Henry, daughter of John and Nancy Henry, born 29th June 1813, died 17th July, aged 19 days, and then rest in peace in Latin. Well, it's almost 3 o'clock. Wow, this day has flown by. I've had a blast running all over the graveyard, showing you just what you can see when the light is just right. I can see the monitor, my hair's a mess. It's always a windy day up here in Churchill. I can't wait for when we reopen, and you all are more than welcome to come here and explore the graveyard in your own time and see just what you can see on your own. I want to thank everybody who's a donor and supporter of St. John's Church Foundation. And if you're not a donor or supporter, there are plenty of things you can do to help us out now. Of course, you can donate to us. We'd be thrilled to have your help. But you can also do things like follow us on social media, share programs like this one today with all your friends. And if there's anything you're curious about and want us to do a program on, we'd love to bring that to you right now. Here's an example. If you want to learn about the stained glass or preservation of the church, or more about the Second Virginia Convention and Patrick Henry, or if you want to know about the graveyard, please reach out to us and let us know. We'd be happy to provide a program just for you. Thank you so much. And if you want to learn more about St. John's Church Foundation and what we do, please go to our website at historicstjohnschurch.org.